Hey folks, Carl Kishel here, and welcome to this week's edition, the Election Week edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update, reading the cloud blogs so you don't have to. Have lots of information to share this week, so let's jump right into it. Unlocking the potential of smart building ecosystems. So this blog post gets into some details and information about partner solutions around smart building and ecosystems within smart buildings on the Azure platform. So there are a number of partner solutions that are mentioned in different scenarios in this blog post. So check them out. The one I thought of particular interest, at least for me, is around computer vision spatial analysis and the ability to securely count the number of people in a given zone and the distance between the folks within that zone to make sure there's compliancy with public health regulations. So clicking on that link for computer vision and spatial analysis provides you with some additional information and architecture on leveraging Azure Cognitive Services for spatial analysis. And in this particular white paper hinges on three pillars: people counting, social distancing, and entry and exit. And leveraging cameras, Azure IoT, cognitive services to provide you with the telemetry and the metrics for those particular pillars. The success story or the customer story revolves around RxR Realty and the RX Well solution built by RxR. And again, it's all about measuring data within the context of a particular area or building. So check out this blog post on how this solution leverages Azure IoT and our spatial recognition. Microsoft named leader in the Gartner 2020 Magic Quadrant for IoT systems. So a lot of us are familiar with Gartner and their Magic Quadrant, which is the upper right-hand corner, and that is the leader quadrant. And of course, Microsoft Azure is there regarding IoT platform. So the blog post gets into some of the details around Azure IoT and Azure IoT Hub. Just having experience with the Azure IoT Hub with other customer solutions, the thing I've always found interesting, and a lot of the feedback I get from Azure IoT Hub, is not only the ability to connect IoT sensors and elements to Azure and the ease of use around that, but also the ability for IoT Hub to manage and to securely connect those devices. So that's something that not a lot of other cloud providers provide, and Azure IoT Hub gives you that additional capabilities around security and management. So check out this blog post for more details. Summarizing some of the Microsoft 365 updates that occurred in the past month. In this particular post, a lot of this we've already covered in previous weekly updates, but I do want to call your attention to two things of interest here. Number one is on the productivity score. So productivity score is some telemetry that you can leverage through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And it gives you some idea in terms of productivity, end user usage on leveraging Teams, collaboration, Exchange Online, etc. So examining various workloads and use cases across your particular tenant and modeling activities such as, are your end users emailing other users within your organization attachments versus using links to SharePoint Online or OneDrive for those attachments for really high value add collaboration and sharing. And then wrapping up those particular activities into a productivity score for your organization. So check this out if you find that to be of use or something to look into for further details. And scrolling through the post here, there are some other things we've covered here regarding Forms and the Forms app being now part of Office 365 mobile suite. And scrolling down here, is the other point I wanted to raise. I think this is kind of buried here, but this is really interesting, and that is the ability for NDI support with Microsoft Teams. So NDI, Network Device Interface, and if you look at this capability, it was in preview for a while. It's now gone GA, and this is the ability to parse out the various streams from a Microsoft Teams client perspective for more control. This additional blog post gets into the details in terms of how to turn this on, and this has to be turned on by a tenant admin at the admin level. But once you turn this on for a group of users or particular users, that opens the door for the end user with these NDI out features. And here's a list of the 5 streams that are available: primary speaker, local, individual users, screen sharing, and some of the enhanced capabilities of video, which is the large gallery and together mode. So the value prop here is, imagine if you have someone who's conducting a Teams meeting internally, and perhaps they want to broadcast that through a broadcasting platform such as Microsoft Stream, for example, or YouTube, or something else. So it gives you a little more flexibility in terms of reaching out to audiences for Microsoft Teams. The other thing this opens the doors to is open source software such as OBS. So if you are a YouTuber or someone who works with a lot of video and want to do some customized production and broadcasting of your video streams using Teams, you now have that flexibility. So check out this blog post for more info. Regarding Microsoft 365 and roadmap updates, there are a list of 17 updates since the last time we spoke. And I just wanted to call out 2 of particular interest. The first one is regarding Microsoft Teams and the ability for the live event presenter to leverage the iPad for their presentation. So that's something that wasn't available before for iPad. You typically had to use either a Mac or a PC to do your live presentations. So that is now available. And last but not least, I wanted to call your attention to this other roadmap update. And both of these are in development and are slated for first quarter next year. This next update is an upcoming feature from admin perspective for admins to control Exchange Online reply all storm protection. So this feature will provide some additional telemetry in terms of email storms that might be brewing within your tenant and giving the admin a heads up in terms of controlling that before it gets out of hand. Our second last update is regarding what's new in Microsoft Teams. Again, some of this we've covered in previous weekly updates. Wanted to call your attention to 2 specifics that I haven't covered previously. Number 1, this new feature that we'll be rolling out called speaker attribution and live captions. So Teams has had live captioning for quite some time, and now the ability to attach the live caption to the particular speaker and giving you some more dialogue in terms of who is speaking and where the live captioning is originating from a speaker's perspective. So that will be rolling out shortly. And if you scroll down through the blog post, again, a lot of this we've covered in previous updates, file sharing experience, global notifications, etc. But I wanted to call your attention for those of you on the Microsoft Office 365 education platform, this new capability around anonymous grading and marking in assignments. So the ability to remove temporarily the student's name, or at least hide the student's name from the person who may be grading assignments. And this is all about unconscious bias. So instead of seeing the student name and mentally associating that student's name with everything you may know about that student, this is a different approach to grading where you're just tackling the grade anonymously without any kind of connection points that may exist between you and the student by virtue of their name. So it's a way of abstracting their name and filling out or completing their grading and assignment tasking anonymously, which could be of help for a lot of use cases. The remainder of the blog post covers some additional features, so check that out for more details. And last but not least, wanted to call your attention to this Azure for Architects ebook. It's a free ebook, 3rd edition. I think this is extremely helpful for those of you who are looking at best practices around architecture. There is also some deployment tips and helps as well in this ebook. So in the link that I'll provide in the video description, click on the link. You'll have to fill out your personal information and email address in order for you to receive the free ebook, but well worth it and definitely something to check out regarding Azure architecture. That concludes this week's edition of the Microsoft Cloud News Update. Please like, share, subscribe. Appreciate if you have any feedback, please share that with me either in the comments section or reach out to me on LinkedIn. And being that it is election week, please remember no matter the outcome of the election, I'll still be here next week and so will you. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.